So it feels like Leicester and West Brom was a long time ago.
Does,
I've
doesn't
got
it?
to stand up for Leicester because I was hearing the word luck, which I've hated. Just so hard to win at this point of the season. They got over the line. Last night, I was on a blooming call from 7:30, so I've only seen the highlights. So convincing either of these two, or are we in that stage of the season, to quote the great Brian Clough, just win?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and that's doing a disservice to West Bromwich Albion, who we know. I was about to say they're a dangerous side, and I think that encapsulates them quite well because they're so well coached, and I think they got really good athleticism, and I think they exposed Leicester at times. Interesting to see Cody getting a rare start. I thought that was interesting. Obviously, Chowdhury probably attracts more criticism maybe than any other Leicester player in for Ricardo Pereira, but made 3 goal-saving clearances on the line. So there was a game early part of the season where they were at Norwich, and it was when Jonathan Rowe was absolutely flying. Do you remember? And I just was a bit fearful that him in that kind of inverted fullback role would possibly struggle when the ball got transferred and it becomes, a bit old school winger up against fullback. But he absolutely coasted that night. Probably one of the first times I've seen Chowdhury up in the flesh. He was really good on the ball, tenacious. Again, I've read varying reports on how all the Leicester fans have responded to his performance the other day. So there was some bad along with the good. But they came through. They got the win. Him and Cody in the side. So Vardy missed the penalty in the first half. But West Brom had a series of opportunities, didn't they, before they were able to get themselves a goal. That's the stage of the season. There's a little bit more freedom probably about West Brom, even though they need a point or two, or maybe even a win to be assured. But it was nervy. It was nervy for the Leicester fans and nervy for the Leeds fans last night. But huge credit again to Middlesbrough, who I think have scored 5 times against Leeds this season. Incredibly watertight in the main, and they're having a real good go at the moment, Middlesbrough. And I think when I covered them about 2 months or so ago, I said to you, they're just good fun, Middlesbrough. And maybe at the Riverside, there wasn't an abundance of goals early part of the season. There certainly has been latterly. And they are just good fun. They have a go. They attack. They've got some really good players. They're a bit short in a few areas. And along with the Coventry lads, that's maybe the informed player in the division in Latte La. So they came through. Again, Leeds played a lot more on the counter last night. They allowed Middlesbrough to have a lot of the ball. And that can be a dangerous game. One of
Leeds' best performances this season was away at Leicester playing on the counter, wasn't it?
Yeah. But they closed down the game, didn't they? And allowed very few chances on their goal. So yeah, it was an amazing game. Some brilliant goals. Changed my mind about 15 times on Worldie of the Week.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't know what else did I pick out. At 7th time, they have conceded first and gone on to win Leeds this season. And that's a match now for Ipswich. Ipswich have done the same. Ipswich have actually gone behind, I think, 18 times and have only lost 4 of those games. I mean, that is incredible bounce back ability, as Iain Dowie once said. So yeah, Leeds showed a lot of spirit, but they showed their class in the forward positions again. Rutter for the penalty. How many times have we seen something akin to that this season? Getting it, wriggling, getting turned. Dyke still had a bit of a stinker for a couple of the goals, but everything that was good about Rutter in that, and everything that was good about Somerville this season in that goal, the 4th goal, which was a brilliant finish. So great game. Huge credit to Middlesbrough for having such a go, but Leeds' quality just showed out.
It did. And we'll talk about this with the remaining fixtures. If you're a Leeds fan now, you probably rather would play someone like Middlesbrough who's going to have a go than someone who's going to sit behind the ball. If you look at the games Leeds have lost as well, I think that's probably borne out. We'll touch a little bit on Southampton when because obviously we're recording this. If you're listening on the audio, we're recording on Tuesday lunchtime. There was no good time to do this show, but tonight, obviously, Southampton go to Leicester. and Saints' crazy defeat at Cardiff. I would say similar to the Ipswich defeat there, but Saints had way more chances than Ipswich did, didn't they, Sam?
Yeah, that was mad in the first half. The one that was it David Brooks tried to walk in.
Yes,
that's just incredible. And yeah, Cardiff had got to be one of the youngest benches, or so many youngsters involved in that squad. So you wouldn't have foreseen that happening. So yeah, just one of those things. I think similarly to how we responded to when Ipswich were beaten there. Sometimes you just got to take it on the chin. I'm not entirely sure Russell Martin could have done anything differently. He went with the majority of the guys that have been getting success over their long unbeaten runs this season. Didn't change things really till 65, 70 minutes, I don't think. Tried to just shuffle the pack, but it can happen, can't it, if you don't take your chances? So tonight's massive. The amazing thing, they've still got half a chance if they go and win at Leicester tonight, which seems incredible. It just changes so quickly. So much so that a nursery drop-off this morning, in my head, I was about to tell a dad that QPR were mathematically safe. But I think on Sunday morning, they pretty much were, weren't they? Then Sheffield Wednesday go and win. And
we'll
it's all just
that.
thrown back in the mix. So, yeah, I'm a little bit lost with it myself. But obviously, I think the rule is don't discount anyone until I read it in print somewhere.
There you go. Let's have a look at this then. So, massive win for Leicester, Sam. Leicester now, if they were to beat Southampton and Leeds were to lose to QPR on Friday night, Leeds would not be able to catch Leicester. And of course, Southampton, because they would be losing to Leicester tonight, would also not be able to catch Leicester. So Leicester would be up in that scenario over the weekend. They need a favour from Leeds to do it that quickly. When it comes to Leeds now, if they were to beat QPR, Sam, the goal difference basically means Ipswich would need to then win both of the first two games of the 3-game week to go into the final day in front of Leeds United. They're putting the pressure on. Ipswich, we said about the 3-game week to end the season, it's looking with what Leeds are doing that they're going to have to score 9 or 7 points, depending on what happens on Friday night at Loftus Road. Southampton, I mean, we've said this for about 2 months, Sam. They need a winning streak. But, as you just mentioned, if Southampton beat Leicester and beat Leeds, have to beat Stoke in between, they would be on 93 points, and Leeds would only be able to score a maximum of 93 points as well. So there's a potential to tie there, and certainly a potential to put the spanner in the works. Feels like the pressure's bang on Ipswich now, doesn't it, Sam?
Yeah, possibly. Again, though, their outcome not decided by tomorrow night, but it could have a bearing, couldn't it? Coventry against Hull City. So we'll know a lot more about their mindset, how they're likely to approach the game when we know what that result is. It could play wonderfully well into their hands before possibly the second game against Coventry, especially when you throw Huddersfield at home in the mix on the final day of the season. So I'm sure they've used the time wisely. I'd rather be recharging my batteries probably in a champney somewhere with the squad rather than playing high-pressure games that Leicester and Leeds have had to undertake the last few days. So I still see it as a bit of a bonus that they've had a little break, but they come back with a huge game against Hull. But who knows? Who knows? It's going to be fascinating. QPR Leeds Friday night. I'm going to be there.
Are you working or fanning?
Working? Yeah, working. I don't know if QPR. I don't know if they take the point now. I just think there's going to be twists and turns in the top 3 as well. I don't think probably any of these sides are going to be immaculate. The last month has shown us that. So I would be very surprised if we're sitting here in a fortnight's time and any one of the 3 sides has taken maximum points. That's my hunch.
Talking about immaculate, Sam, we said a few weeks about Southampton that, if they get this done, standing ovation. I have to say, if either Leeds go back-to-back in away games, Monday night, Friday night on TV and take 6 points, or Ipswich take 9 points from a 3-game week with that pressure on, be a hell of an achievement for either at this point now, wouldn't it?
Feels unlikely, doesn't it? I mean, even Leicester, if they were to win tonight, I'd fancy them to go to Preston and win. Blackburn at home could be a colossal game. Blackburn could still need something then. That all of a sudden becomes increasingly difficult for them. But yeah, I'm with you. Leeds didn't score for 2, did they? And then they've churned out that performance last night. They were looking a little bit indifferent. And Ipswich have shown over the last few weeks, you think of that Watford draw, the Middlesbrough draw at home, nothing can be taken for granted. And they've got 2 teams who potentially, I think they've got to win all their games, Hull and Coventry, probably to get in. But it's achievable, isn't it? I think Hull won.
No, because they play each other.
They play each other?
So
no, I'm saying...
They can't both win. For what are you saying? For one of them to
get
the playoffs? Yeah.
So, and I think they had that little flurry, didn't they, of away victories around about a month or so ago, Hull. So it's achievable. And also they're relying on, results going their way as well, above them in the table. But yeah, I can't see it, to be honest. I think they'll be dropped points, and I think we'll be going into I think we'll probably be going into the last day with 1 position for 2. I think someone will probably be up Leicester.
I think I agree with you. I've got to say, and I hate myself for saying this as an Ipswich fan, I think if QPR and Leeds, I think if that's an away win for Leeds, I think it's too hard for Ipswich at that point. Then I think, going through that last week with that pressure on, with 2 away games, and yeah, I take your point, Sam, that potentially the intensity of Hull and Coventry gets lower and lower depending on what happens, and also potentially Huddersfield could be down, but you've still got to score those 7 or 9 points. And if Leeds go perfectly and Ipswich gets 7 points, Ipswich will miss out on goal difference. So the standard Ipswich have to hit, if Leeds can win at QPR on Friday, just feels like it might be too much.
Yeah, it's probably one of those weekends where it's quite nice to play first, isn't it, for Leeds, if they can get the job done and just sit back and watch it play out on what will be Saturday, and then the following Monday, isn't it, Preston? So yeah, it's a massive game on Friday. I don't really know what to expect. I mean, QPR have probably used so much energy in getting that victory over Preston. It'll be interesting to see what type of QPR turn up. So many times probably over the last few weeks they felt that their job was done. So they need to get that intensity up and make it a really difficult night for Leeds. But yeah, the prize is on the line now, isn't it, for Leeds? I just think those attacking players could have a say again. I think they could possibly be too strong. But we'll get onto that tomorrow.
We will. And with it being on a Friday night as well, it does actually change the narrative for QPR, because if it was on the Saturday, you're kind of in the mix of all the other games and a draw might have seen you right. Whereas QPR are kind of going to know on Friday night, win, and they're safe. Although in the same way, Leeds are going to know on Friday night, win, and the pressure gets absolutely piled on. The long and the short of it is that's a lovely conversation with loads of permutations. We haven't got the foggiest, but at time of recording on Tuesday, we'll know more in terms of Leicester and Southampton tomorrow. We'll clip that one out, Sam. So thank you, everyone, for their live comments. Get your comments in on this impossibly high standard championship promotion race.